Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about mental illness and fear. If you've ever been struck with a mental illness and have been in an institution, you probably observed that either yourself or the people around you had a lot of fear in them. One of my stories is that when I was struggling with schizophrenia a little bit more, I went out to exercise and I drove my bike all the way over this bridge off this island where my mom was working in town. But by the time I got in town, it got dark and I had to hang out in a park for a little while till my mom got off work and could drive me home. So I was in this park and struggling with my schizophrenia. I became a little fearful, um, and somehow this message I saw appear on one of the backboards, and it was written in red letters like from a horror movie, and it was a message. I don't remember what it said, but it was a message preying on my fear, and it was as if something was reading my mind and playing on my fears. So, with that, when I became spiritually enlightened, I realized that that was something from the spirit realm, either a demon or a darker entity, giving me that visualization. But when you're in fear, that it's important to know that it attracts like energy. So the fearful energy in your body will attract demons around you, will attract darker entities that could give a schizophrenic, in my opinion, a visualization that brings them down even more into fear, because that's what they do. That's what darker entities do. They play off your fears, and they work with fear to bring you down. So it's important to know that God designed thought. He made one polarity of thought love, and the other polarity of thought a fear-based thought. And this comes from the book Conversations with God. So if on one end you're fearful, and you want to get out of fear, the way to do that is with love, because love is on the opposite polarity. So knowing that fear is on one polarity of thought, you can probably begin to understand and put in perspective that when people are angry, when stuff hits the fan and things go down, that really all comes from fear. And another thing about fear is that man has realized that fear persuades people. So it's woven into society to get you, to motivate you to do things. But when you realize that fear and the dark entities that work with fear, it's all an illusion of basically the earthly experience, because in the spirit realm there is no fear. So when you realize, channeling God, being connected to God, helped me realize that fear is an illusion of the mind. It's something that has the least amount of truth and the least amount of spiritual value. Love, on the other hand, is the highest truth and has the highest spiritual value. So when you think about love, what do you do when a hurricane comes? Here in South Florida, we take the things that are most, sentimental to us sometimes. We don't go for the stuff that's highest in money. We go for the stuff that's very meaningful, and we take it and run. And the same thing, like when you die and you cross over, you don't, well, this is a different discussion, but you don't really die, you just change form. You turn into spirit and soul. So when you change form, what do you take with you when you die? It's all the love that you took from this lifetime. It's all the memories, it's all the good things, it's all the great, great things, the love that you take with you. So realizing that love is the highest truth, you can realize that when you're fearful, you can go into love and, basically combat your fear. Not combat it, but embrace it with love. So love is thousands of times stronger than anger, resentment, or fear. Thousands of times. So when you're working with love, you're working with a very, very high power. And it's good to know that a little bit goes a long way. When you use it to solve problems, when you use it to heal yourself or heal other people, you only need a little bit to really be effective with it. You don't plow someone over with love, because love isn't forceful or controlling. And masters who have mastered this earthly experience had a way of staying in love. So my suggestion to people with mental illness and people who care for people with mental illness is that when they are afraid, use love in the situation, because it's on the opposite end of the polarity of thought, and it will help them with their fear, and it will help you with your fear. Well, it's a spiritual technique that can help anyone. So thanks for watching, and hit the button to subscribe below.